also did. But I'll be sharing some of that knowledge with you guys specifically about metahumans. And any questions that you guys have, please feel free to ask away. But also, if it's things that I don't know, I will try and find some solutions to you guys. There are some things which I'm already like, I feel like there will be questions about this. And I've found some videos about them, so they're already in my reserve. But anyway, I thought the easiest way to go about it would be to actually just take you through the process. A couple of things I've prepped, so kind of in like the world of art attack. Here is one I did earlier. Because as we know, compiling shaders takes ages, and doing pretty much anything else or loading up any files can take ages. So I will let you know which ones the ones are that this will take a long time. Yes. Quick question, just out of curiosity. Who of you have worked with Unreal Engine before and who hasn't? Or who has a metahuman? Does anybody? Stella has a metahuman. We have an Alana metahuman.
Played with it briefly.
I mean, I entered the metahuman page and made some, but I never saved them or anything.
I mean, they save automatically. So you should still, if you logged in with your Epic Games account, you should still have access to those. It always freaks me out because it's one of those times where I'm like, I need to save this. Why can I not actively save this? Amazing.
Okay, I will check.
Yeah, you should, definitely. Okay. In that case, we will start off. I'll take you guys through a level that I already have open, which is the one that I was working in. But just because I've already added some things to it, so I don't have to migrate it all to a new thing. So that's kind of why I did that, to make life easier for myself. Yes, I know. It's a cop-out. Do you guys want to see what I've been working on? Just to see what's possible with the metahumans?
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
That was my problems. I got frustrated. I couldn't quite get what I wanted.
I will ask you what exactly that was in a second. So this is just a little theme in terms of you've got the animation, you've got giant jellyfish, because who doesn't like giant jellyfish?
Looks like a movie already. Crazy. Is that what you did in the summer?
Yeah.
In the summer.
Yes.
Thing? Oh, wow.
This was the Summer of Unreal thing. And so those are pieces that what she's wearing is stuff that I made in Clo a while back. And so I brought it in and dress her with it. And so I'm going to show you guys a little bit how that is done. So first and foremost, this isn't going to be an intro to Unreal Engine. We can do that another time if you guys are interested. But I'll try and talk you through some basic things, including we're going to be opening up a new level. I already have one here, so I'm just going to click that and open that up. Also, I realize I'm pointing at the screen and you guys can't see that. Well, you can, but it's not quite as obvious. Here is a metahuman that I've already brought in. But let's say for the point of argument that we don't have a metahuman in our level yet. One of the best way to go about this is to go to our content browser, which is down here. And if you don't see your content browser, it's probably docked. So you'll always be able to find it down here. But that's always going to be fun. There we go. So you go to add, and then add Quixel content. And then you will probably have to log into your Epic Games account. I'm already logged in, as you can see that. And we will ignore this. We do not want to worry about the plugin right now. But first of all, this is a great resource for any kind of assets, specifically kind of natural things, so trees, rocks, giant things. But the reason why we're here for it, and you don't have to pay for this, so we like that. But the reason why we're here is for the metahumans. Here we go. So here are the presets. So these are the ones that you can download that already exist. And then I can show you, and then here are some of my metahumans. So if I were to click on any of these, if we click here, this is the metahuman creator. So this takes us straight to the website where you can make your metahuman. And so then you launch this, the metahuman creator, and this is then where you would go about making your metahuman, editing your metahuman, and then any changes that you make, they will automatically be added to your Epic Games account, because you log in here with your Epic Games account and you want to make sure you do it with the same one. because I know a couple of people now who have accidentally set up 2 Epic Games accounts, and then suddenly you're sitting there and you can't find your files because it's linked to the wrong email address. So this is where you would find all of this. I just want to quickly show you guys what it looks like and tell you a couple of things, because we like the metahuman. We like metahumans because we can rig them, because they're already rigged. So in Unreal Engine, you can animate them with comparative ease. But at the same time, I know that some of the questions, I know that Paola and I've talked about this, and I know other people as well, they find it a little bit limiting because there are only, let's say, 9 different body types. So this is just something to think about when you're using metahumans. There are definitely ways in which you can adjust it. I know that there's a Mesh to Metahuman plugin which is specifically for the face, and I know that Jessica's used that, and it looks amazing. But so when you first start off here, you would probably start with a create button, and it then gives you all of the ones that we saw earlier on that are already inside. And then if you click on one of them and then go to create, it will give you the option of either adjusting the features of the face just by themselves. So it'll kind of be still loading. So it will be, you can kind of move different pieces of the face, things like that. Or you can put together different faces and kind of have it and create gradients between different features. So those are some of the ways in which you can do this. Ultimately, if this isn't loading right now, I just want to show you one of the key things you want to do if you're trying to dress your metahumans is you want to prepare your metahumans in such a way that they are basically as naked as they can be. So when it comes to the proportions, here are the different proportions you have. So was I wrong? I was wrong. Ignore me. So you've got, yes. So you've got 6 different ones for a short build, for an average build, and for a tall build. And one of the things that will not automatically be set is this. You want to make sure that you take off their tops, take off their bottoms, take off their shoes. Unless you, for example, if you're giving them a dress or something like that to wear, you might want to keep on the bottoms as tights, because then it won't have the leg mesh underneath, but you can still change the material on the actual tights. So somebody like Stella, who is obviously a material and shade of genius, will probably still be able to have a lot of fun with kind of whatever you have here in terms of just taking out the UVs and editing those as you would. But that's not what I'm going to do. Instead, we shall leave this. We will imagine that you have your metahuman. It's all there. It's all happy. Now, what I would do is download it. So this one's already downloaded, but say this one isn't. So you press the green arrow. That will take a long time. So I wouldn't recommend doing that right now, or at least if you do, there's not going to be much point. You won't be able to follow along. But if you want to use it later, great. And then you need to make sure that you have your Unreal Engine open, and then you press add. And this might then show you that you need to install some plugins, including LiveLink, and I can't remember what the other ones are. But this will show up over here, and you just go to, I think, enable, or it's either an enable or a fix button, and then it'll do this all by itself. You'll have to restart Unreal Engine. It'll take you through it. It'll be fine. But ultimately what we end up with is a folder. This is the Megascans folder, is this folder that has other assets you downloaded from Quixel. But the Metahumans folder is where you get your Metahumans. This one, I think this is Misty. Yes, this is Misty. So if I open the Misty folder, here is our blueprint. We work almost exclusively with a blueprint, but here you have the different materials. So if you're trying to download specific things, or if you're trying to edit specific things, you can add in different, you can go through the different folders and then change those. But here, for example, you have the particular body that we used for Misty. We're going to ignore those two. You will not have those two. How can you download the mesh of Misty to dress her? by the mesh of Misty, do you mean the... Oh yeah, is that next on my list? That is next on my list. So there are two ways in which you can go about that. I'm only going to show you one way. Basically, Quixel Bridge, the app itself, Quixel has, that was the question that people were going to ask. You have plugins for Blender, for Cinema 4D, for Maya, for, I want to say Houdini. They all exist. I'm going to put the link to that into the chat later on, as well as the link of how to enable the bridge, because I don't use it, so I haven't used it before, and my Maya, you want to use an old version of Maya. I think you want to use 2018 in order to be able to do that. So I don't do that. I just go through Unreal Engine, so that's the process I'm going to show you. But I will send you that link for if you want to do it in a different way. And so the way that we go about this, it's a little bit convoluted, because what you have to first do is you have to create a level sequence. A sequence is where you ultimately, you know how I showed you the animation at the beginning? That's inside a level sequence. And so the way we do that is you find this button up here and you add a level sequence. Also, in case anybody's wondering, this is Unreal Engine 5, just in case I haven't mentioned that.
Yeah,
okay.
I noticed mine looks like from 1992 or something.
Which one? Do you know which one you're using? Are you 4.27? 4.26?
Where does it say?
That's a good question. It should say, you should be able to see it on your Epic Games launcher.
Oh, 4.27, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's not that big.
I would recommend downloading Unreal Engine 5. We quite like it. We're a big fan. Personal. That's me personally. Also, in case you're ever wondering, you can have multiple Unreal Engine levels open at the same time. Mm-hmm. You kind of want to see if your computer likes it, but it is a possibility. So, you don't have to be fearful of that. 4.27, where's the level sequence? You should still be able, it should still be at the top, and it should still look like have you found where the add level sequence is? Paola?
No, but I also didn't look.
Okay, that's okay then. I have 4.27 as well. I can share a screenshot of it later on where that is.
Yeah, no, but I'm going to download the newer one, so I think it makes more sense. Yeah.
Okay. So once I've clicked add level sequence, we are going to open the sequence folder. If you do not have a sequence folder, you want to make a sequence folder. So what you would do is you would... There we go. Right click and new folder. And then we're going to call it sequence Metahuman 2, because I already have a sequence Metahuman from earlier on, which we shall ignore. And then I'm saving it inside the sequence folder. Go save. There we go. Now, this should look familiar to people who've worked with, done animations before and things like that. And so one of the things that we can do at this point, create a new camera. You see it's out of focus. Quickly gonna change that. What I'm currently doing is just changing the focus of the camera so that it's, there we go. It's just an easy way to visualize it in case you guys were, because I'm always just scrolling and it's like, it's about here. But this is over here in the details panel. Anything that you click on, any item that you click on in your level will open up a details panel about that particular item. So this was the detail about the camera actor. And then this was here under the focus settings. So I click draw debug focus plane, and then I scroll that down so that we'd have her in focus. Cool. Okay. So what we would do now is, if we look down here at our sequencer, the only thing that is currently in our sequencer is the Cinecamera actor, right? This just shows you what the Cinecamera actor can see. If you add different cameras, different camera angles, that'll show up. You can change and adjust that up here in the cuts. But we don't have our Misty blueprint. The way that I dropped her in there, by the way, so I didn't show you guys this, was There we go. And literally just dragged her in. So now we have a second Misty blueprint. We don't need her though, so I'm going to delete her again. And I just selected her and deleted her. But once I have her selected over here in the outliner, we will go to track, after the sequence, add blueprint Misty. Perfect, there we go. Some of the things you will see now is, there we go, that's her control rig. So this works quite nicely you can animate everything via control rig. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you're starting off. But then we also have a face control rig, and there are also, with your Metahuman content, there are facial expressions already saved in, so you can access those as well. There is also, this is the animation mode, so here are some of the things that, some of the different elements that exist. We're not really going to go into those though. We don't need to right now. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to right click the blueprint Misty and go to export, find a folder, make a folder. This is my Misty Metahuman folder. And I'm going to name her Misty. Well, funnily enough, I already have one of those, because here is one I did earlier. Say Misty Metahuman 2. And so you want to make sure that when you do that with the blueprint and not just the body. It'll make things easier. You can leave this as is. Yes, you can leave this as is. And then you go to export, and that should now give you an FBX file of your Metahuman. One of the things to consider is we do not want to bring this straight into Clo. I'm sorry, for clarification, I'm assuming that you're making your codes in Clo or Marvelous Design or something. But anywhere you put this, you do not want to do it straight away, because it will be coming in with different levels of detail. And the different levels of detail basically are different levels of mesh on top of each other. So one, it'll look weird, and it makes it a little bit difficult if you're trying to fit it on. You can't properly select the avatar, so that just makes things a little bit difficult. So instead, I would recommend going through either Blender or Maya. I'm going to show you how to go through Maya. It's really not that different going through Blender, but as Stella knows, I am comfortable in Maya, so that is what I'm going to show you guys. When you import your Metahuman into Maya, where you do it is file import. You want to have saved the file. As you can see, this one is currently not saved yet. Save scenes. Metahuman Misty. I can send you the file. Sweet. Let me do that. I should have my, there we go, my Metahuman Google Drive folder. So I will do precisely that. Where is she? Misty Metahuman. There we go. And then I will just share this. I've forgotten how to use, there we go. My brain is a little bit mush, so I apologize. Copy link. Oh, there we go. Copy link. I'll just, I can just send it. Yeah, you know what? There you go. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Why is that the wrong one? Oh, it's not, but you just ignore the animation folder. Don't import the animation folder. Can somebody let me know if this has opened up the Metahuman folder as a whole? You can only see the one file. Okay, that's not what we want. My bad. Apologies. Copy link. Done. There we go. That should hopefully work. If you guys want to open it up as well, feel free. Perfect. Yes, ignore the animation folders, please. I will explain later on what I did there and why what I did was wrong. We are now here. Perfect. So, if basically you import what you've exported into your preferred software, I'm going to be working in Maya. As you can see, a bunch of stuff came in here that doesn't. First of all, this process itself, at least in Maya, takes a long time because there's so much to it. I'm going to delete all of this. I don't need it. At least I haven't needed it so far. When I come to regret it, I will let you know and I will apologize profusely. Earlier on, I set this up and I forgot to set a workspace, which is why I don't actually have one, which I did earlier. Otherwise, this wouldn't be taken as long as it does. Any questions about the importing at this point or about anything we've done? Because as I've put in my notes, this will be a time when we have a little bit of time because this takes a while.
I think I just deleted the file. I wanted to copy it and somehow I deleted it. Sorry.
I love it. Here we go.
So I'm importing right now with the standard settings to Blender, and I get a very strange result. So I think I need to tweak the import settings a little bit.
Is it that the head and the body aren't connected? Sorry, aren't connected.
The head and body are just doing fine. Like even the little flip-flops are on there.
But the rig is in a different place.
Yeah, the rig is in a different place, and also the bones are, well, let's call it dislocated for now.
Okay. Wait, do you want to share your screen for a second? I'm curious about this.
Yeah, we can do that.
But basically, at this point in time, it doesn't really matter because all we're looking for is the mesh.
I know. I could just get rid of the. But also, it's nice if you have your bones coming in with the mesh into Marvelous or Clo, because then you can reposition if needed, if required.
Nope. We don't want that.
Oh, we don't even want that? Okay, good to know.
We don't want that. I mean,
can you see
you can, but
it essentially
yes.
came in like with all the LODs.
Yes, so this is what you want to do. Is you want that's what I was talking about. So I'm gonna go into mine and delete all bar LOD0, and you also have it in three different sections. You've got the head, you've got the feet, and you've got the main body.
So I will leave.
And so you need to delete it for all three. The head comes in with I think 8 different LODs.
Yeah.
So you want to just delete all of those and just the mesh. Don't.
Which one do I leave? The LOD0? Is that the one
I know. Yeah, it doesn't really make a difference. Either LOD0 or LOD1. Because all you're bringing in is the mesh itself, it's more for sizing than anything else.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I will do it.
By the way,
Doing it.
Yes, Vlad.
look, you had asked what I was finding that I was looking for.
Yes.
The two things that I was looking for that I just wasn't finding, maybe I just needed to get a plug-in, and I gave up too soon because, wow, I was getting frustrated, and that happens with me. And rather than go Hulk smash on my computer, it was easier just to get away from it.
Yeah.
I was looking for very long hair, which they just really didn't have much selection in hair at the time I was looking.
Yeah.
And looking for a porcelain complexion. I could get fairly light, but I couldn't get almost that albino / almost to the point of the white face paint you get on the Japanese, what do they call those? Madam Butterfly.
Geisha.
Geisha. Geisha. Thank you. That's the word I was trying to come up with. That very pale, almost porcelain complexion. I couldn't get it that light, and I wanted long red hair, porcelain complexion. It matched the character in the book I was working on. I couldn't get it, and so I just went, you know what? These are cool, but not today. And so I stepped away. And it was more my patience level, I'm sure, than the.
I mean,
Bad doctor, no patience.
The thing to consider with the hair is that they will not have a lot of they have at this point quite a few hair options, but you won't be able to do all of them because they're too complex. So they only work with certain levels of detail. So some of them, for example, they'll disappear the further away you go. And so you won't get, whereas others, it becomes easier. I think we were looking at this at some point, like the further away you are, the more it kind of abstractly looks the way it's meant to.
I was working the most detailed version because I was going to put her seated behind the news desk.
You probably still won't have hair that's longer than shoulder length, because then it's interacting with the body, and that's then a different kind of and
that would have caused, and that's what I was looking for, was something that's waist length, and I wasn't finding it.
No,
and I understood after talking to some other people about it that there's technical issues why that's a problem.
Yeah. But the thing is, with the skin, that's something that you can edit. So in the similar way, I'll show you.
It's not important at the moment. You go ahead and do your thing if other people have questions. But it is. I'm looking forward to when they manage to find a way around it.
I mean, what I was going to say in terms of the editing of the skin and things like that in general, that's stuff that can be a really fun thing to do, because you can do a lot to it. You can add tattoos. You can add. This is when you can make and add things that are, what's it called? Emissive, for example. If you want somebody to be glowing, if you want somebody to actually look like they're maybe part robot or something like that, then you can add this in the actual texture maps for this, and you can just adjust those as opposed to
fun to play with.
Sorry?
So that would be all sorts of fun to play with.
Yes, definitely.
It is. Also, Zoe.
Yes. How's it looking?
She's in.
Yay! Designer. There we go. So, one thing I'm going to point out, I'm currently split between two laptops, and my Flow is on the other one and not on this one, because I'm a moron. So I've imported garments that I've already prepared in Flow. But basically, at this point in time, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, and I'm going to use Stella as an example. At this point in time, you would dress your avatar and you would save your avatar in the same way that you would normally dress an avatar. So you would save your avatar, and what you would maybe want to do, because this is the normal medium build, you could save it under normal medium build, and then any metahuman that you use with that shape, you can just dress them on this, and then you can adjust it in terms of, like, if you're going for one of the taller avatars, then you can just save all 9 variations, and then you have them in your arsenal, and you can always just dress those. And you would dress it the same way that you would normally dress your avatars. And so if you have something, you can go ahead. I always have I otherwise have items that I was going to show in terms of, at this point, you go about it the same way as you normally would. You make sure that you set up your UVs properly, and then you export it item by item. I wouldn't recommend exporting it all in one. But yes, so as you can see, obviously, because she's currently wearing the flip-flops. So this is the thing. If you'd have exported the avatar without the feet section, that would have come in with just the feet and not the flip-flops, which is bizarre, I realize. But this is something to consider if you want your avatar to be barefoot, for example, or if you want to add shoes at a later date, then this is the way to go about it. But I'm going to go back to my screen and pretend like I've made my garments in Clone and exported it into back into Maya. Any questions at this point in time? I realize
yes. So when I import the file in Blender, right?
Yes.
I do have to delete all the bones you said, right?
No, not the bones.
Oh. Okay.
It's not the end of the world, but the main thing you want to delete is the other meshes.
Like the shoes?
No, but if you open up the files on the right hand side, you should see that there are different LOD levels. You don't want to.
I want to quickly look at my screen folder.
Yeah.
Because I can undo it. So if you really open, for example, the feet, right? And then you open the root, then you find like those different LOD levels under it, and you essentially delete all of them except for LOD 0. That's how you get rid of all the additional meshes.
Wait, sorry, my screen is somehow not showing.
Okay, I can put a screenshot. Let me put a screenshot there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, please continue, Zoe.
That's done. So I'm going to share my screen again. And like I said, can you see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So because I've forgotten to do this and I don't want to go through this again, I'm setting my project in here. Hope this works. It should do. File, saves it as Misty Metahuman 2. Cool. And then the garments that I imported earlier on, again, you bake out the UVs, and that should then give me, oh no, not that. Let's go back. Metahuman trousers and Metahuman. I'll start with the Metahuman trousers. Import. One of the things also to realize is obviously this is currently not at 0.0. I just leave it there and then fix it in Unreal Engine because it's relatively easy. But basically what you want to do is you want to create a file, whether it's in Blender, whether it's in Maya, that is just your Metahuman like this with its rigging. And so this is called Misty Metahuman 2. And then everything that I add in, I will save as a new file. So once this is set where it's meant to be, I'm going to save it as a new file, because then any other time that you go through the process of dressing somebody in Clo or Marvelous Designer and then bringing it into here, you don't have to create a new file. So, this doesn't always work perfectly, but I'm moving it to where it needs to be. Or hopefully moving it to where it needs to be. Oh, it's not too far off. Yeah, actually, okay. Perfect, there we go. Wait, let's have a look at this. Oh no, it's a little bit far front. Oh, that's not what we wanted. Let's try that again. There we go. I've definitely just messed something up, so I'm just gonna undo for a second. Okay. Make sure that I'm selecting the mesh of the trousers. There we go, perfect. Okay, what we are doing now is we are going to bind the trousers to the skeleton. Because that then means that when you move the legs, it will move the trousers. This is, I'm going to say, comparatively easy with the trousers because they're quite close to the body. I'm going to show you something else in a second, and I'm going to show you why that's a little bit more difficult. And yes, we're not going through weight painting because fuck that. That's a whole other thing. But I'm just going to allude to it so that you understand it. And if you're good at it, great. Teach me, please. But I'll show you some ways in which you can go about it. So at this point, I'm gonna make sure that I'm in rigging mode over here. And then I will select the mesh, and then I will select the skeleton. There we go. You want to make sure that the skeleton is green. Go to skin and bind skin. And you will know that it's worked if your skeleton goes multicolored, as it is here. Yay! One of the ways in which you can check is you can select the leg, for example, and rotate it. Okay, here we go. I have made a mistake. Can anybody see what mistake I've made?
I think I know Maya to less. I'm not sure.
Okay, look at my outliner and look at what's selected.
Are there double bones?
Yeah, so I have 3 sets of bones in here, which theoretically is a good thing. However, it is not good because I have just, instead of attaching the trousers to the body root, to the body skeleton, I attached it to the foot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
We don't want that. So I'm just gonna make, so that I should now not have any, there shouldn't be any binding. So instead what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hide, actually I'm just gonna hide all the feet in as a whole, and I'm gonna hide the face as a whole. There we go. And we're gonna do this again. Isn't it good when we make mistakes and we can learn and or try to? There we go. Okay. So again, selecting the mesh first, then selecting what it's being bound to. Skin and bind skin. Okay. Yep, multicolored. We like that. An easier way to check whether this is Joe. There we go. Perfect. Now, obviously you see this and you're like, oh, this looks terrible. What is happening there? This is down to weight painting. So this is down to, that which must not be named, but there's kind of a nice and neat, I'm going to say, trick in here, which I think people keep on talking about Blender in terms of there's a great way to do it in Blender as well. I've not tried that, so I don't know how to do that. So we will need Stella for that. But just to show you, basically what you end up doing here is you copy the weight of the body mesh to the trouser mesh. And you do that by selecting the body mesh first, then selecting... No, sorry, I'm not using my mouse right now, so we shall ignore that and I shall do that again. There we go. Okay. And now I go to skin, copy skin weights. I hope I did it the right way around, because this is another one that for the longest time I was doing wrong and I didn't understand. There we go. Look at that. It won't be perfect, but it definitely makes it makes a difference. Similarly, if we now, let's say we move the spine. Look at that. Nice. So this is something, for example, I can bring this in and I would be comfortable enough to add this to my character without worrying about, oh, but it doesn't simulate properly. Obviously, this depends on what you're looking for, but this is a great way of doing it. So what I would do now... Yes, perfect. So this has the fabric in it that I'd applied in clothes. This should have the UVs the way that I set them up. Just checking. Why are there no UVs? Because nothing is selected. There we go. Great. Perfect. We're fine. It's all good. It's all fine. So what I do now is I just select the trousers, file, export selection. I'm exporting it as an FBX, and as you can see, it's right here, rigged metahuman trousers, because naming. I'm not going to export it again because I have it already, but that's then what you do. I don't change anything else. But yeah. So this is what's happened here. And then I'm just going to show you a top that I made, which is a little more stressful because it's away from the body quite a lot. So the whole copying the weights from the skin to the weights from the garment doesn't work as well because as you can see, the sleeves, for example, a big part of the sleeves are closer to the legs than they are to anything else. Also, I'm going to bring back the face just so that we can see it. I'm still going to hide the root though because nope, nobody wants that. As a human top. Da, 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 da. Does it look right? Yeah, I think it looks right. Sweet. Oh, no, there we go. It's too far forward. There we go. Perfect. Okay. And now I'm just going to quickly do the same thing again in terms of attaching it to the right root. Back to rigging. No, you know what? You've understood this part, right? I've just seen the time and I want to show you the most important things. We've kind of understood how to do this and how to... Yes, maybe?
Yeah. Keep going.
Sweet, okay. Back in Unreal Engine. This is now where it gets really fun. First of all, I'm going to take out that debug plane, details panel. There we go. Okay. So I have made a folder called Office Hours Content, and I am going to import, so add, import to thingy, Misty Metahuman, and we're going to add the rigged trousers. We want to make sure that no skeleton, but we do want to add a skeletal mesh and import mesh, leave all the rest as is, and import. Yep, we ignore this. This is all fine. Now, okay, perfect. So we now have, this is our skeletal mesh of the trousers, which is great. Now the question is, how do we add that to the blueprint? I will show you how. This is where it gets, I find this really fun, and it's something which makes me happy because I didn't realize this was possible. So we're going to look at the blueprint of the metahuman. She says, there we go. This is what this looks like. We're going to ignore those two because they're already there and they shouldn't be, because I'm just going to delete those. Yep, there we go. This is what you will get. Initially, you look at this going, I don't understand this. Totally fair. This is what you will get. This is where you see your metahuman. Here are all the different parts that are attached to the metahuman. So you've got the feet. If you add in different shoes, for example, you can do that here. Oh, the face is doing a fun thing. We're going to ignore that because that's just the material. That's just the shader. But yes, here you see all the different elements that are attached to it. Any new thing that you want to add, or any time you want to add something that you might potentially want your metahuman to wear, the way that you go about this is you go to add a skeletal mesh. Okay, that's because I still had it selected. If it's not selected, I'll show you how to get to it. And I'm just going to call this trousers, because basically if I then add in different rigged trousers, I can always then just go down here and bring in new trousers. So one of the things you can see right now is, as it was in Maya, it's not on the origin. Easy way to fix it is we go into the construction script, and actually this is something you always have to do. Every time you add something new to the Misty blueprint, to your metahuman blueprint, you have to go into the construction script. So this is one of the blueprints. And you have to, we're going to delete those because those were the ones that I added earlier on. Here is one I did earlier. So you drag in whatever it is that you've added, in this case, the trousers, and then you pull out of the node, I can't remember what it's called. But you pull out of there and you search for enable master pose. And you have to do this, otherwise it won't work. And pull that into there, pull that into there. Obviously you can make it look nicer and kind of give it more space again. But you have to make sure that you do this with any item that you add. Trousers, top, anything. And then you go compile, save. Now let's see what happens when we open the viewport again. She's dressed! I call this a victory. Sorry, way too excited about that. Anyway.
So you don't have to move anything from the clothing then, right? Like
exactly.
It already should fit perfectly.
You don't touch it because it's already there. You can go through, you can change the fabrics to, obviously you can change it to just something random that doesn't necessarily adhere to the UVs, or you can just save new sets of UVs and import it. So one of the things we can go about that another time, but this is one set of trousers, and I'm pretty sure I should have another set of trousers. There we go. So this was another set of trousers from a different one. The mesh that I'd had applied to it isn't there, but we can just to show you, and by mesh I mean material. Goodness. You can just change that, and then it'll change it here, obviously depending on what you're looking for. But now I have. Actually, I'm going to save this, close this, And I'm going to deselect this, so I have nothing selected. I'll just show you again. Add skeletal mesh. Top. This now is, we want to pull it. How do I attach, I think? Yes, okay. Basically, we don't want it to be attached to another piece of garment. We want it to attach to the root or to the blueprint. So top, and then let's see what I have here in terms of tops. No! Oh, goodness. Can somebody tell me on voice whether they can still see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my screen's just gone black, so I can see nothing.
Okay.
Fantastic.
You might have to just disconnect your.
I think I'd have to turn off my laptop and turn it back on. Let me just connect from over here so that I can talk to you guys whilst this is happening.
I mean, I can share my screen so you see your screen.
Hello.
No,
I'm
just kidding.
Hi, lovelies. Sorry. How are you guys feeling about where we're at right now?
I don't think that I can hear you. Hello, everyone. Is it mine?
Yeah, I can hear Zoe.
Okay. Damn, the one thing is if I turn this off now. Okay. How do you guys feel about what we've gone through so far?
I feel good.
Yeah?
Yeah, but it also made me aware that rigging seems like so much easier in Maya than it looks in Blender. I have to admit to that.
Yes!
I the same. Zoe, remember you showed me how to do it this week, and I'm like, why did you even let me go through Blender? Like, why?
Because the thing is, Maya costs money, and
I
people
know.
are saying that Blender is great and Blender is excellent for rigging. So I was thinking, well, people are saying this, so it must be true.
No, it is not untrue, but it's just I think much harder to learn. There's like Anna and we were in a meeting yesterday with the guys from Rococo, and it was mind-blowing to see how retargeting works with their software in Blender. Like, they wrote this little add-on, and it's literally one click, and your avatar is rigged. And I was like, I need this.
So the next thing that I was going to show you guys, and I realized we're at the end of time, was actually how to add animations to your metahuman, because this is kind of another thing that's really good, whether you either want to do cloth simulations in Clo, or whether you want to do just simulate your rigged and kind of skinned character in metahumans. That's kind of the next thing that I was going to go through, because the retargeting there, it's a little bit of a learning curve, but at the same time, once you've done it once, it makes sense. Sorry, it's my other baby just turning on again.
I think save it for the next one, because
this
is really good, I think, and taking it easy is also important, because there's a lot of new information in there, like info me. So I think
I mean, the main thing that I wanted to show you guys is that basically what you can end up doing is you create a library of all of the pieces that you have that you want to ever add to your metahumans, and you just bring it in, and if you just create a level or a project that just has, let's say, your different metahumans with the different looks that you've added, or with the different looks that and then you are working on a project and you think, actually, I think I want to use that metahuman with that look that I created, you can then migrate that metahuman in that project into your current level, and it will bring everything across that it needs. But then you can just keep adding it, because it ultimately ends up being so easy to add them, and to then kind of go through it and kind of feel like you're in Clueless, and you're like, oh, what about this top and these trousers? What about this? And, it becomes really fun.
Can't wait till they get this all scripted, where dummies like me can just go, hey, this would be cool, and just say it happens. Because I'll be honest, I'm struggling, girls. I got ideas, but I'm struggling. You girls are fantastic.
But also be patient. This is it's not easy.
Doctor, no patience.
Yeah, I know, but it's not easy to learn, like you cannot, like even when you have all of those tools, right? So I tried out yesterday Plask AI, if anyone wants to try this. And I have to say, I was fairly amazed on how well Plask AI captures rudimentary iPhone video into like full skeleton animation. It was pretty amazing, but it still doesn't give you like a file that you can translate 101. The same with the Rococo stuff, by the way, right? Because there's also a live link for the Rococo suit to Unreal Engine. I was like almost a little bit disappointed. Like you have to do a lot of hand tweaking to your animations still.
Yeah.
So like while, those tools are super helpful and they will, lift off like work from our shoulders that we're not very eager to do. They still require you to understand how it works, so you are able to make all of those tweaks. And I'm sure next time Zoe will probably also have to show us like how that is done, because it's unavoidable, really.
So for preparation, in case you guys want to go through this and kind of add to your metahuman wardrobe, first of all, if you have any questions, always feel free to tag me and ask questions, or like, to show what you've worked on or what you've brought in. I would absolutely love to see what you decide to bring in, and kind of how you, and like how you decide to incorporate it. And what I was thinking for next time is that we can then, definitely upload it. I would love to see that. And then what we can look at next time is animating our metahumans. And with that, we'll go through both control rigs, we'll go through adding animations from the marketplace, and how you kind of retarget so let's say there's a folder on one of the ones that I downloaded is zombie animations, and it gets imported, you import it with both, like with a zombie or with a mesh that has all those animations. And so ultimately what you're looking for, so actually on this one, the one that I'm currently using is 2023, which is the most recent one, but 2018 lets you use the plugin. That's the thing. Like Maya 2018 lets you use the bridge plugin. So these are the two things to kind of think about. I quite like Maya 2023, but when I first started learning, I learned on 2018. Yes.
And it's kind of a little bit off the subject, but not much. When you're making these clothes, if you have a pattern already, let's say you went down to the little fabric store and you bought a pattern that you liked or whatever, and you want to put it on your metaverse character, can you take a paper pattern that you purchased and turn it into a digital pattern?
Yes, so that's something actually that you should ask Paola about.
What was that?
That's something that you should ask Paola about.
Okay, I was just curious if it was even possible or something.
Yes. So you mean a paper like pattern in terms of like for the clothes, right? In terms of like, this is what the sleeve looked like. This is Or do you mean a pattern as in like something like this, like a pattern?
No, a pattern as in the clothes pattern.
Yes.
The reason I ask. I did the Renaissance and medieval stuff for a long time, like you see at Renaissance fairs. My wife has a huge collection of medieval gowns and things that would go amazingly in the metaverse as, and games and whatnot that are all outside of copyright or any kind of IP. Because they were developed, 600 years ago, 400 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was just curious, I'm sitting on all of this, if someone were to be able to convert that into a general pattern that you could then texture with the patterns you're talking about, the design pattern, texture differently. Am I sitting on a small fortune that I could NFT each one of them for people who want different designs for their stuff? If I had somebody that could actually do the work of making it into it.
So this is actually something, this is part of what Clo is for. This is part of what you do in Clo, and kind of one of the initial things that you learn is how to bring physical patterns that you might have into Clo and turn it into digital patterns just from kind of the paper patterns that you have. So Paola, this might be something that you'd want to do something on maybe in your next Clo session. I don't know what your next Clo session is going to be.
So you have Clo or know anything about it other than I know it exists. So, but thank you so much for telling me about it. Now I at least know that it's out there. I might get my wife excited on the concept because she might find that interesting, and that will at least get her involved.
The other thing that you can do with that then is you could create a metahuman that looks like your wife. Or at least is inspired by your wife, and then you could dress her in.
Does he really want to do that?
Just as a present for her, for example. But yes,
nice. You should do that flat.
Yeah.
Get your cracking on metahumans.
Well, I've got, again, we're back down to having to get long hair again, because that's the one thing,
Well, the long hair is just an issue. It gets in your way, like literally all the time. This is why there are so less virtual humans with long hair.
Yeah.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Also, just quickly, here are the links that I was talking about in terms of the plugins.
I'm just teasing. But no, seriously, I was looking for something that I could do to get her excited about the concept.
Yeah.
This might be something that tweaks her fancy. I don't know. But thank you for answering the question. I'll shut up and get out of it.
No, I just quickly want to say I'm really glad that you guys found this interesting and that you showed up, because I know that, Metahumans and Unreal Engine can feel overwhelming if you don't have experiences in it. But hopefully we tackled an element of it that you guys maybe feel excited about, or that you have already started with, and maybe I showed you something that you haven't seen before, or even if not, I just, something else. But yeah, I'm really happy that we covered this, and moving on. Yeah, no, thank you, definitely. And seriously, any questions at any point, tag me, let me know, and show me process stuff. And I will, next time we'll go about animating them. And then we can also kind of, show how you get in, like, Mixamo animations as well, because I know that that's something that maybe a lot of us are used to. But yeah.
What do you use for animations? Like, do you use Mixamo and the library that you told me, or are there any other?
So I mostly stay in Unreal Engine and go with the animations that you already have, because the nice thing is you can adjust a lot of them, and the stuff that we don't like in Clo, or the stuff that's difficult in Clo, is kind of getting the transitions. So say you have a lovely walk, and then at the end of the walk you want to have a spin or a jump or something, for whatever reason, and then you want to come back, for example. You can do this in Unreal Engine seamlessly. And then because you literally, can you do this in Clo?
I'm so sorry, you guys. I have to stop the recording here. I really have to leave to another meeting.
No.
But I love you all, and please continue your conversation.
I also actually have to leave in 5 minutes, just as a heads up. But I'm happy to keep this conversation going soon. Bye, Stella.